let's talk about something really important. What does it truly mean for a student to belong in a classroom? Today, we're going to explore 4 very different educational models that try to answer that question. It's a journey, really, from complete exclusion all the way to genuine inclusion. Welcome to our Special Needs Corner. We are certainly happy to have you here. It's so great to have you with us for what is a really critical topic for anyone and everyone involved in education. And that really is the question at the heart of it all, isn't it? How do we build educational spaces where every single student doesn't just show up, but truly, truly thrives? So, to really get where we want to go, we first have to understand the different paths that exist. These 4 models, exclusion, segregation, integration, and inclusion, they represent a real evolution in how we think about disability and education. And to make sure we're all working from the same playbook, so to speak, we're going to be using the official definitions from the United Nations Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. This gives us a solid, internationally recognized foundation for our whole conversation. Now, to make these ideas less, abstract, we're going to follow the story of a young student named Leah. If you joined us for our last explainer, you might remember we talked about Carlo. Well, this time we're focusing on Leah, who is blind. Her journey to get the education she needs, which includes Braille and mobility training, is going to look dramatically different depending on which system she's in. All right, let's start with the first model. And honestly, it's the most basic denial of a student's rights. The definition here is pretty straightforward, and it's just as stark as it sounds. For a student, exclusion means that door to learning, to growth, to community, it's just slammed shut before they even get a chance to knock. So what does this look like for Leah? Well, her family goes to enroll her in the local school, and they're just turned away. The school says, sorry, her needs are just too expensive, too complex for us to handle. And just like that, Leah is left with 0 educational options. None. Okay, so from having no school at all, we move to the next model, which is a separate school. The key word to zero in on here is isolation. Now, you could argue that segregation is a step up from exclusion. I mean, at least an education is being provided, right? But it does so by creating this separate parallel world for students with disabilities. So for Leah, this means she does get enrolled in a school. But it's not her local school with her neighborhood friends. She's sent to a special school, one exclusively for blind students. And yeah, she might get fantastic Braille instruction there, but she's completely cut off from her sighted peers. She's in an isolated world. All right, let's look at model number 3. Now, on the surface, this next step looks like real progress, but as you're about to see, it comes with some pretty big catches. Really listen to that last part of the definition again. As long as they can adjust. See, that's the hook. That's the catch with integration. The student is let in the door, but all the pressure to adapt, to fit in, it's put right on their shoulders. Okay, so with integration, Leah is finally in the same classroom as everyone else. But let's look at what's actually happening. Instead of the Braille she needs for literacy, she gets a noisy, distracting audio recording. The teacher keeps using visual slides but doesn't describe them. So Leah is physically there, but she's basically left on her own to survive in an environment that wasn't built for her. And that brings us to the final model. This is the goal. This is what we're striving for. Inclusion. This definition, it's a total game changer. It's a complete shift in thinking. See, inclusion isn't about trying to fit a student into a box that already exists. It's about redesigning the box itself so that everyone belongs from the start. The system changes, not the student. So, in a truly inclusive school, what happens to Leah? She isn't just welcomed. The school actually changes for her. She gets her textbooks in Braille right on time. The school creates a tactile map so she can learn her way around campus. And her teacher? Her teacher makes it a habit to verbally describe every single picture, every chart on the screen. The system adapts to Leah, not the other way around. It's a world of difference. Look, if there is just one thing you take away from our time together today, let it be this comparison right here. Integration says to the student, you can come in, but you have to change to fit our system. But inclusion says to the system, a new student is here, we have to change to make sure they belong. That shift in responsibility is everything.
And that is why getting the difference between integration and inclusion is so incredibly important. Inclusion isn't just some nice idea or a feel-good word. It's a mandate. It's a call for real systemic reform. And here in the Philippines, for example, it's actually written into policy, like in DepEd's Order 44, which demands that our schools evolve.
So I want to leave you with a question, a challenge. Big systemic change can feel, well, overwhelming, right? But it always starts with small steps. What's just one small change, one barrier that you could help remove in your own school or your workplace, maybe even tomorrow? Thanks for watching. We're grateful for your interest in learning about special needs education, or in general, inclusive education. God bless. Your commitment to understanding this stuff, that's what's really going to create a better, more equitable world for every single learner out there.